teams are playing at their top form. I will go ahead and tell you, I do not anticipate this one going in a clean sweep either way. Both teams are looking unbelievable in hardpoint, and more in particular, the search and destroy is, I think, an even battleground for really both of these two teams. So I'm looking to see who takes an edge early off of this summit, and can that momentum possibly lead in to that standoff?
I got a feather in my cap, man. We're that map number 2 for S&D, but I want to just see how Elevate just combatant against what Q9 can only feel like home. When we talk about these Chinese teams on hardpoint, it's always someone that has gotten rid of. For the ego chow out of Elevate, this should be interesting.
Yeah, should be really interesting. So let's get locked on in. Elevate able to find the first 6 seconds, but Q9 able to contest and come off the spawn with an opportunity to continue to play over the top of PC. Again, as we just broke down, do not make your eyes weary of watching this mini-map, especially the team in yellow, because as soon as they get good success like here, they're going to start to play through the bottom of the map, flip to the left side to control spawns for 3, and then just hold off and play 50-50s at P2.
Yeah, just don't want to make sure you give up all of this time while you're constantly playing for spawns. A little bit of a spawn out occurs for Malchi, and you're going to really like that with his XM4 in hand. Even if he's able to find a kill, which he doesn't, it still causes a lot of distress for Elevate to try to push through this time to play for those spawns that you want out.
And that's the thing, Elevate love to play for time. Doesn't matter what map, they just want to be on the hard point as much as humanly possible. So they're already up to about 30 seconds from P1, which is great news considering it is a blank 50-50 battle. Now we go over towards 2, outside catwalk. Q9 able to find a couple of kills from the bottom side of the minimap and then find their way into the hill. Kendi, the Kendi man, can he find a way to get 2? Lots of damage comes through, but the trades are there. Klo following up though, keeps Elevate involved on P2.
We talk about last year's performance. Klo did have to step up quite often, more than not, but Yopi is leading the charge for Elevate as they have this 20-point lead and growing even more so. Look, Q9, they made this bet. They're going to have to try to break back in P2, giving up the time they did on P1.
So far, so good for Elevate. Time at least going their way, which we often say when you have 2 50-50 hills back together and then 2 money hills right afterwards sequentially, do the damage if you're not going to win the first money hill on the first 2, and so far Elevate have done that. Keep your eye on the minimap. Number 3 in blue. Possibility to try to flip the map with only 18 seconds left. Kendi's going to keep the focus on the front of the hard point. 4 War Machine loads are able to hit, and that's enough to find a 5th over the top. And look at the spawns. An opportunity to flip right as we get to the locked hard point.
Split spawns occurring over on the P4 side. You're going to hear a lot of nades just ripping, and the only reason being is because Q9 still had players anchoring over by the ski lift, and that's going to be at least D-Chen trying to find value with the Sparrow in towards the back line. Still one more player to be worried about back here. It is Klo, and he's still finding eliminations. The spawns are now fully anchored for Elevate as they have a 20-point lead, and the spawns for a money hill.
Brilliant mitigation because D-Chen is really just playing the survival game with the Sparrow in hand. None of his teammates could come back to help him win the spawns though. BJ up top, Tempest shots, trying to lock down the front door while the rest of the team continues to battle for spawns, and as they get the wins, the Pred missile comes down, gets the information on where Q9 are spawning. Still a block situation though in the back. Q9 will have one more member spawn up, but PJ's already on an EMP. He is frying.
They got the EMP. They already shut down the War Machine coming through from Cloud. That was trying to be the tip of the spear so that they can fully break in towards this time. Q9 do have numbers on this side of the map, but now Klo has the equalizers to fight for the scrap time, finds himself a 3-piece with it, and there's still a couple of Q9 members hanging around the joint. But you're going to be feeling really good about that just because you're keeping them trapped on this side of the map ahead of another rotation. So splitting this about the 40 to 15, if you're looking from Elevate's perspective, W job.
Indeed. The equalizers allows one last opportunity for Elevate to, at worst, contest. And take a look at that setup on the right side of the minimap. Again, Elevate here first with a lot of zone of control in front of the hill. Nice move from Kendi. Shuts down the backside staircase. And watch what happens off spawn. Does he come up and pick up that pinch once again? Because here comes Q9 running to the top of the map. Death Machine has to focus on 2 things at once. And it's not finding much value in terms of actually connecting. It does keep Q9 further and further away. And then once you get the read, you can pull it up back towards Tractor. But Q9 able to get some sort of a shutdown and possibly continue to block out spawns. The problem is Elevator still alive on the hill.
You got spawns all over the place through the middle of the map, some up top, some all the way to the backside of P4, but Q9 will at least make something out of that push that started to come through. I mean, the Death Machine, albeit not finding the utmost value, you're expecting to be able to find those kills as they're herded around towards the back. Now you got the Tempest out if you're Curly. Running out of shock darts, gonna be looking for at least one more, but Kendi, he has the War Machine once again, and you can throw everything that you want for the back 10 seconds if you're Elevate. You got yourself that 30-point lead.
Yeah, really solid stuff from Elevate through this first set of hills. A lot of it, again, you talk about the difference in score, you can credit that to what they did on P1 and a little bit on P2. So we split the difference points on the Money Hills, and we go back into the chaos, which is bottom PCs. Klo up top, able to at least get some look at where Q9 is, but the numbers still favor that of Q9 as, I believe I just heard the EMP get called in by PJ.
Yeah, PJ's going to go ahead and rip that. I don't know, unbeknownst to them, there's not a whole lot of operators that's going to be shutting down, but it does nullify the utility as well as trophy systems. So Sparrows, Tempest, everything thrown out for Elevate to be able to find any transitional gunfights. Not really going up in their favor. Still got that pinstripe kill feed, and Q9 are still hanging around. They played for the spawns once again, Alan. They got that side of the map, but they cannot allow more time to be generated.
Yeah, PJ, nice with the Tempest, just clears out more space over through the front doors. And now is going to try to get over through Snow Door and make his way back around just through the smoke, and he is deadly.
Yeah.
Talking about, again, his ability to stay on point. But all that said, Q9 continue to keep this one tight. Less than a 30-point game, and a little bit of a wiggle and a wag right there as Quling is good for 4. And an opportunity for Q9 to take a convincing kill feed as we look towards P2.
Yeah, look at all the operators where Q9 are still sitting on going in towards this P2 rotation. Got to be really choosy when you're going to start ripping some of these operators. It's going to be Quling with the equalizer first. Has 20 eliminations to his name. Klo does shut down 2 on the return to the fire. They have the high ground. Quling aware of it. He's just going to sprint right through them. It's the right call. Catches the spawner off guard. And now he's just trying to play for those P3 spawns while his team just absolutely benefit from the space being created.
You want to talk about value out of an operator? You can send one player to win spawns when you have a player like Quling with equalizers out.
Gross.
Absolutely insane. The rest of the team focusing on the hard point, and Hen will make sure that he can keep things going for Q9 on the hill itself. And that has been flawless. Opportunity for Q9 to flip the lead into their name for the first time this game. And again, with 30 seconds left, it's going to put pressure on Elevate to try to not just work through the time, but also try to find their way to the left side of the map. And Close says, hey, Quling, anything you can do, I can also do, as they find a way to try to contest the backside of the left hard point.
Yeah, I mean, it's much like you said, if you have a player like Quling to be able to find value with the equalizer and push through the backside of the spawns, and you're in a really good spot. Klo attempted to do that alongside Susanna with the death machine, but they still have one more player, do Q9, all the way in the back.
It's too soon.
It was way too early. So now you're in an uphill battle, quite literally, in the resource department, not to mention in the positional department.
Yeah, the opportunity, you don't really discredit for the amount of kills that he got, but with 19 seconds left in the hard point, with 8 seconds of lock time before the hill opens, that route was just a little bit too early. And now Cloud can reestablish control for Q9, just getting to work with the War Machine. Looking left, looking right, looking inside, outside, upside down, finding kills all over the map as Q9 build their first significant lead of the game.
Yeah, sound like a Shel Silverstein book over here out of you right now, but I'm not going to lie, Q9 really making this into something special. They got the spawns in towards the back. Those resources now need to start being dumped for Elevate. It's going to be the War Machine first for Kendi. No trophy system on the point. It's all the way to the backside of the spawn, so that way they can try to anchor it, knowing that the ski lift side needs to be dealt with. But the crossfire, the setup for Q9 is absolutely sublime. Still 20 seconds left to fight over, and PJ spawns in towards the back. This is a well-timed spawn flip if you are Q9, whether they meant it or not.
Yeah, but Q9's aware of it, and they do get a couple more eliminations and reaffirm control on the hard point itself. And now you take a look with 8 seconds left. Now we start to build the rotation. HKD try to chase down the one Elevate member over towards P4. Pred Missile also trying to get some information before it gets called in, and Curly will connect on to PJ. Q9 are in position for now, being tested. Big moment in this game for Elevate, trying to win the spawns for new. Yopi around the back shut down. Can PJ follow up? No, it's Quling able to catch 2, and Elevate will be pushed to just the front doors of the hard point, where they will be pushed off, and Q9 will have numbers inside the hill.
Yeah, they still have snow control though, so they're going to be able to command one player to still spawn over on the north side of P4. But Q9 are holding so far back on the P4 side that they're still going to get some of those anchored spawns coming their way. They're aware. Elevate still hanging around snow. D-Gen rips off that Sparrow, but a popcorn nade comes from Susano. Could be the opening to fight for 25 seconds.
You've got Elevate who are still spawning out behind the back. It looked like Q9 had made the right read on that Sparrow timing, but now you just got to win from inside the hard point for the scrap time of 18 seconds. And it may seem insignificant, but I promise you it is not as we get closer and closer to 200 points for Q9. Elevate now a little bit trapped, spawning behind Tractor, and Q9 have them absolutely worked up as Quling continues to rip him apart. Holy cow, he's on 39, not to be outmatched as 3 of his other team members, now 4, are over 30 kills as well. So Q9 are absolutely shredding.
2/3 of all these eliminations that Q9 are fighting are so impactful, aren't they? Where they constantly are fighting for all these spawns, positional advantages, power advantages. And you said it so plainly, like Elevate, they just want to get their feet on the point and just try to play a good corner so that way they can try to set them up. But Q9's fundamentals, way too sound. That 30-point lead that Elevate had, nullified. Going in towards the third, and I can only imagine the final set. Elevate got a lot of work to do. They're doing a good job, still scrambling in the middle of the map. The Death Machine does well to at least get them space forward, but Q9 are so patient and then resilient as they just wait for the resources to finally be depleted, and then they jump back in.
Just like it started, it may come to an end as well. Elevate really good on P1. Susano getting in the mix. Woo! Almost for 5. Tempest to follow though for PJ. That's enough to get Elevate close to the 200-point threshold, and he is not done yet, my friends. Clo follows up with the equalizers, and that's now a lot of space as Elevate are only down 5 points.
Q9 have struggled to fight for P2 the entire time thus far. They always want to play for those P3 spawns, so Elevate ripping these operators earlier might mean that they can have them ready towards the latter half of P3. Shotgun fight sliding. Finally, PJ is able to take down Quling, but it does set up enough time for Q9's reinforcements to come back around, get themselves back over towards this metal side of the map, and try to play for a couple of trades. But Elevator's scrappy, man.
Yeah.
They got a lot of snow control, and because of that, they will flip out the spawns, forcing Q9 out of the world.
It was expensive, though. 3 operators spent for Elevate just to get us to a tie game. You're going to have efficiency and economy starting to lead towards Q9, but Quling finds essentially nothing with the equalizers. Elevate were still able to stay on point. Now you've got Clo refocused up, but no, gets pulled as how about Curly? Big double over the top. Yopi trying to follow. Tough with the shotgun shots there, but he's got help nearby. And with 23 seconds on the clock, you start to take your eyes down to the minimap. Q9 are playing for new.
You get the crossfire. It's being held by Kendi, but he's only going to be able to get a couple players peppered up with the XM4, so they're still going to be able to slip all the way through. It's still one more player. It's Curly, but dealt with kindly. Elevate, flipping the lead. Those 3 operators, it was a gamble, but it works out.
These next set of kills are the most important for Q9. Spawns are about to open up behind P3. Death Machine locks down Snow, but there's a little bit of uncertainty here for Elevate on where this Q9 hit is coming from, and Cloud has been able to find an entryway from the front with the War Machine. Susano is not in a position to shut that down. Look at the router on the back. Q9 are going to flip spawns if they can shut down Susano, and they do. 236, 222. An opportunity as Q9 completely throttle Elevate on the point.
Complete wipe on the kill feed. Still ample enough time to try to close it out. Elevator trying to do exactly what Q9 just did, pushing around the back, and they found the opening to do so.
HKD to the front door. Elevate trying to move around the back. Do you need to get on the point, though? Spawns may not matter all that much. They're blocked for now. Elevate now spawning in. Oh, but Mauchi holds down the trigger. Finds himself two. 245, 236. Elevator scrambling. They have no operators. They got to find a way to do this the hard way. A moment of contest comes through, but the gunfights don't go their way. And Q9 steals Elevate's map pick.
Big pump up coming through from Q9, making sure that everybody knows you do not challenge a CDM team on Summit. It is a home away from home, scrappy as you may like it. X's and O's segment with Alan to open things up, and it panned out ever so wonderfully for a photo finish. Again, it just always seems destined between these two teams to have such a close affair with all the hard points. But that one moment was everything. The push around the back to play for the spawns, the Death Machine in return for Susano's that was ripped really early, let's be honest, with just watching the snow push. But nobody was holding for any tradable position on the one player that was holding the P2 push. And because of that, they lose the spawns, they lose the resource advantage of what they did so phenomenally on that P2 on the final set of hills. And then they lose the game because of it. That's tough.
It's real tough, and I hate to just look at one specific moment, but in the heads of Elevate, you're probably looking into the middle portion of that final P1.
Yeah.
We're calling out 3 operators just to get us back to a tie game. And when you need them most, when it gets mixy behind the P3 hardpoint, who locks down spawns, you just don't have the same tools that Q9 do. Cloud is able to get to the front door with the War Machine, the Death Machine on the flip side able to lock things down through Snow, and those small advantages, and they are small, were enough to make it at least some sort of convincing way to get Q9 in and through the hard point, wipe Elevate back, and put them into desperation mode.
Look, Summit isn't exactly as small as Slums, but on 5v5 Call of Duty Mobile, you're going to have these micro adjustments to try to make these split decisions, and it's all real reactionary and happening in real time. When Quling lost that equalizer, I thought that was going